Uh, Hi, everybody. I'll first interview two security and privacy experts on today's show. If we have time left over after what I expect to be a fantastic interview, in fact, I was just speaking with them just for a few moments, and I'm like, save it for the show. I'll cover my 5-spin method, where one of its videos has gone viral with over 1.2 million views. But I published that several years ago, so I'm refreshing the topic for 2025. Lastly, as I do each Saturday, I'll cover the slots industry in one state in the US. Today, Alaska slot machine casino gambling. This live stream is your opportunity to ask questions about slots. I'll start with a topic inspired by your questions, comments, and conversations. If you have a question, please start asking now. I'll talk about today's topic for a bit longer, then start answering your questions. Be sure to like this live stream to help draw in more slots enthusiasts and send a positive signal to the YouTube algorithms. The more, the merrier. My two guests today are security and privacy experts who will discuss the casino environment. May I introduce Mike Barbieri and Chuck Sedano. Hello, Mike and Chuck. How are you doing?
Good, John. Thank you.
Great. Let me bring you up on the screen here and get rid of myself, sort of. And okay, so the casino environment. Is there something you want to start with? I've got like 6 questions and more coming from everybody online. Do you want to start with what your business is, what you do, sort of explain your credibility?
You first, Mike.
Oh, thanks, John. Well, we've been around for about 40 years as global intelligence consultants. One area of concentration is internal security, cameras. Of course, Chuck is the expert when it comes to the cameras and finding bugs and doing all the other things that we do with regards to forensics. We do all types of investigative work, corporate, criminal, civil. Sometimes we do domestic. Most of the time, all of our work is done by us through corporations and through lawyers.
Okay.
I have a small computer company. I've been doing custom programming and computer work since the early 80s. Mike and I have been working together for more than 20 years. Sometimes I'm the guy he has find the hidden cameras, and sometimes I'm the guy he has place the hidden cameras.
I'm sure my fans are not worried at all. Do you want to speak in general about the casino environment? We can start anywhere. I know, Mike, you were telling me about what happens when somebody wins a big jackpot.
Yeah. Well, the security in a casino is absolute. There is not 1 inch of property inside or outside that casino that is not covered by cameras. Nothing is left for the imagination. If somebody wins big on a slot, the new systems automatically alert security. The cameras are swung over to the particular piece of equipment that is paying out big. And then, of course, the supervisors go there and conduct their initial investigation on that particular slot machine to make sure nothing, has taken place that's nefarious.
And they don't necessarily have to tell the player that they're doing that check.
They never tell the player. They just go over and congratulate them.
My fans get that. They come over being congratulated, don't realize that the machine has been checked for faults, and the camera and the supervisors involved. It's great to kind of know behind the scenes of what's going on. I do appreciate that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think my fans would just love hearing about that. What happened?
We're talking about big wins. Let me jump in with a couple of basics on big wins. One, if you've never had one, start thinking about what you're going to do when it happens. It's great to have a plan. The casino's plan is, of course, to give you cash, make a big show of it, and hope that you will give the cash back to them. So decide, if you have a big enough hit, are you staying? Are you going? Recommendation is to go. Also recommendation, you don't have to take it in cash. Have them write you a check. If you have cash or they paid you in cash, you might want to ask security walk you to the car, especially if you didn't park in a well-lit area. You have to plan for this. And if it's a casino that you visit on the regular, you might want to plan for looking around at the environment. You guys mentioned that no area of the casino isn't on camera. The bathrooms are not on camera. And there are, at most casinos, family single stall bathrooms. You might want to get to know where they are, because you might need to visit one after a large pay. And it's best
to count your money, or to, well, I was kind of thinking maybe he says you're going to go throw up or something. But
if you know where the single stall alone bathrooms where you don't have to worry about the other people in the bathroom are, those would be the ones to visit after Big Win.
That's a great idea, and there is a right to privacy. That's why there's no cameras inside the bathroom. So,
or at least there's not supposed to be.
Right. Yeah, I've never figured that out yet. Because everybody tells you there's a right to privacy, but I've never seen the right to privacy in a casino. I don't know about you, Chuck, but
agreed.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to have privacy anywhere in a casino. And I can jump in and talk to you a little bit about a security issue that took place at one of the major casinos here last week.
Where's here?
My wife and I were working
sorry, where's here?
In St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, Missouri. Okay, Louis, yeah. We have. We're very careful about. So, what state were you in? Because the rules are different.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we had a lady. We were walking into the casino at the time, and a lady came up to us and said, "Would you please walk me to my car? Because I think the guy that's standing at the door has been watching me." And she had won about $30,000, so it was a considerable hit. And so I escorted her to her car and made sure she got in the car. The car door was locked, and she was backing up and driving away. But the interesting part of that story is that about 4 weeks later, they arrested the same guy for actually kidnapping a lady and driving her to a ATM and having her withdraw more money. So he not only did he rob her, he kidnaps her, takes her to the ATM, and during that period of time, she was able to escape, but he ended up with her car. So, and they finally found the guy, but it was the exact same person that I was looking at while we were taking this lady to her car. So you have to be very careful about those kinds of predators because they're out there.
Oh yes, that was. I'll come to one of the things that happened to me, but I wanted to mention Magpie 11 said she had 5 hand pays in one night, and security started following her. Now, she hasn't given an explanation. I don't know if she was in trouble or if they were just like wanting to be careful that she was going to be all right. I don't know, and she may not know. Magpie is one of my top fans, but I always appreciate her comments. So one of the things that happened to me, or didn't, but it was suggestive that something could, was I was winning jackpots on the high limit machine, and I had started a crowd behind me. and when I had realized I'm sitting there facing the machine, I can't see around me. I got nobody watching my back except a bunch of people I don't know. And somebody kind of like walked up swiftly and past me. And as they passed me behind me, they said, "That was my jackpot." And could he have stabbed me and just lost in the crowd? I don't know. So one of the pieces of advice that I haven't given in a while is take a partner. You know, I've had some high limit players who are just like, I'm way past high limit of anybody else around me, but I take, Bubba was his name. He takes Dustin, and Dustin, is the one sitting there, watching, taking care of the drink orders, taking care of this and that, but not leaving and always watching his back. And, what do you think about a partner?
Sure.
Definitely a good idea. If you're visiting the casino on a regular basis, if it's one you're familiar with, you know the environment, but regardless, having a partner is crucial. Even just security walking to and from. I tell my wife that her job is to scream if there's ever anything going on. I don't want her, interacting physically. That's my job. But she can make noise. Calling attention to yourself is the last thing the bad guy wants. So yeah,
It's a great idea.
Yeah,
Great idea.
I had some training in graduate school self-defense, and one of the things they said is, yell,
yeah.
yell. And because you're in that situation, security's, it's a casino, every inch is being watched, but as Mike said, but you want to be careful nevertheless, because it'll take a minute, but security is never that far away in a casino. Yeah.
And if you're taking a partner to the casino, just take turns gambling, so that you're not necessarily competing with each other, but you can encourage each other. You can keep an eye on their drinks, things that you have to be cautious of. Generically speaking, one person's facing the machine, one person's facing away from the machine. Just watch to see who's watching you.
Yeah, there may not be convenient possible in a familiar casino on a not busy night, but if it's a busy night, it becomes more and more important. And if you win a hand pay, small or large, it's still a hand pay. It's going to attract attention. Text your friend and say, get over here.
Nowadays, a small hit.
Oh yeah.
One of the machines, a small hit, $300, $400, $500. We think that's not a lot of money, but to the guy that's outside watching, he can't, and can't afford to go to Burger King. I mean, there's a guy that he's watching everybody that's taking these hits, and they sometimes follow you to the cage. I don't know if you've noticed that, but a lot of people follow you to the cage and see how much cash they hand out to you, right? It not only just slot machines, but even the tables.
Yeah, it's one of my notes is carrying cash. One of the things that I have seen, and it seems fairly common, is for somebody to sit down next to you.
Oh yeah.
And say, you're going to win, and just on the off chance that you win. And then if you do happen to win, which does happen, they're like, they want to cut. And it's about don't laugh, Mike, it happens. We're yes, and that may be from all over the place, but I consider it I consider these things to be aware. It may not happen to you until it does. And I like, for my emergencies, I don't like them, but they happen. And so for my emergencies, I like to know what to do in advance. Check out the stalls before you, win big. As Chuck was saying, I checked out the car before I won it. Sorry, that's not exactly the same example, but I like to know the answer, because when my hand's shaking so hard that I can't write my name in any reasonable fashion because of the adrenaline, I only have to remember what I decided to do.
Now, do you find most people play the same slot machine for a prolonged period of time? Do you notice that?
I don't recommend it. It's a thing I argue against, but that is something that I have to argue against. My 1.2 million view method, the one I'm going to be talking about after this interview, if we still have time, which is fine, is 5 bets, move to the next machine. Because there's this whole taste thing going on. We can talk later, Mike. Consultations are on my website. So
I just noticed that sometimes people sit at one machine for hours.
Yeah. It's got to. They say it's got to win at some point.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
That's what they think. They think the next dollar that they're putting in there is going to be the one that brings them $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000. I've never seen anybody win sitting at one slot machine for an hour.
Yeah, I tell them move. I tell them move. You've seen them win?
Yeah, that's what Cindy does. She picks a machine and she stays with it until we drag her away.
That's slightly different. That's slightly different because if you've gone through an effort to choose the right machine, that's because there are machines set to win. And you can identify them. I tell people, stand in front of the machine that you want to play, turn around so you're facing away from it. And if it's a wall, pick another machine.
Yeah.
You want the machine to be viewable from a distance. And this is, I don't know that you know my strategies, Mike, but this is what works. The casino wants people to see a win.
Sure. Like the bigger slots. Is that what you're talking about? When you walk right into the casino, there's like these huge slots that are like dollar slots.
So as I educate I'm educating everybody. Yes and no. I look at, as I've been with Chuck to a Missouri casino, Maristar, I think it was, and we went. And I said, you see that big display that's just, huge? No, they're trying too hard. They want a machine where you can see the win on the screen. The trying too hard, well, they've invested millions or tens of thousands at least. The machine itself is 20,000. And so, 100,000 maybe on that huge display, they need their money back. So that's an indication, no. The display itself is supposed to attract people to pay for the display. So what you want is a machine pointed at the entrance to, if there was a win on there, to get people excited as they walk in the door. Or the machine on the back side of it, where people are going to leave the casino, they see a win and they're like, maybe I won't leave.
Yeah.
And this, it's not just the security cameras. The layout of the casino has been thought through by experts, paid good money. And I wish some people could see this. I went to a casino that did not do that. I've been to, I don't know, 50, 75 casinos, 10%, 15% of the casinos in the United States. And I saw one, it's been remodeled since then, something Downs in Louisiana, Lake Charles area. And no, it's not exactly right up to it. It's something Downs. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's a racetrack, and they had set it up so that there was Delta Downs. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Chris. Chris is also an old fan, a well-established fan. Delta Downs, before the remodel, about 2 years ago, they were just dull. There was no slot machines on the end of rows. There was a huge plant in front of the large opening into the slots, high limit slots room, so you couldn't see any wins inside because the shrubbery was hiding it. and I was just like, it's all gone. There's nothing here. And it really helped gain me insight into all the other casinos I'd been to, where it was just like, that's going on and that's going on. I encourage people to at least visit another casino just so they can see the choices that were made by the casino. I hope that short explanation is okay for you, Mike.
One of the things that our company does is executive protection, and we had for a long, long time a lot of players that would go to the casinos to play. Let's say they're playing Texas Hold'em, but after they played Texas Hold'em for 8 hours, they'd end up going to the slot machines, and so we would escort them to the slot machines, and there'd be a couple, two or three of us, and we kind of stand around and make sure everything was copacetic. That there weren't going to be any problems. And some of these people were big winners. Chuck knows one of our clients that, but she's a Vietnamese gal, and I got to tell you what, they're avid gamblers, and we would take her all over the place. In fact, I took her to Phuket when Steve Wynn built his casino out there, and she was a guest of his. So that tells you how much money this gal was spending. But no matter how long they were playing Texas Hold'em or they were playing 21, she would leave the tables and go to the slots because she really thought she had a better chance of winning on the slots than she did playing 21. And she was a professional gambler, this gal.
Good. Having that kind of protection and following you around. I had I don't remember his name. I probably couldn't use it if I could. A semi-famous poker player at Horseshoe Cincinnati, who sat down not on the machine next to me, but the one up after that, and I chatted him up as I like to do, and poker player and this and that, and how's it going? Well, I'm out, and okay, and I just thought I'd come over here, and then he won $4,800 in like 2 minutes on the machines that I was playing then during the time when I was getting 90 hand pays in 9 months. and he's like, why is the machine broken? You won. Oh, so I can just go? No, you gotta wait for he doesn't know. He's a poker player. I'm sure he knows poker very well, but the slots, no, you gotta, this is what's going on. And so, yeah, he got his hand pay, and he said, I've made money on this trip. When he was out the poker tournament, and now suddenly he's making money, and he's like, okay. Yeah. So that was kind of the other thing, big wins I wanted to ask about. Let's see, restrooms. Wow, Chuck, you really got on my list. I didn't even share this. There's little stuff like leaving a card or leaving their phone. I don't really see it as a security issue. If the phone is like locked, it might be a cost, but I'm not too sure that it's a security or privacy issue. And you did talk about parking. There's a couple of different things about parking. Yes, someone could follow you, but there's parking lots, parking structures.
Right.
Go to the elevator, go to some floor in the parking structure. And a lot of casinos have that sort of layout. Different ones have different difficulties following and that sort of environment. But
either way you slice it, the parking situation is most likely the most dangerous place you will visit at the casino. They have cameras there, but the staffing probably isn't going to be somebody who responds if you start yelling. Some places have security guards, whatever, but they're stretched thin. So when you're
and far away, there's no booth out in the parking lot.
When you're parking, when you're doing anything with the car, have a phone in case of emergency. Don't have the phone in your hand. Have your car key fob in your hand and know where the panic button is. If nothing else, it'll make noise and perhaps distract whoever it is that's accosting you, following you, whatever. If you are getting into your car, obviously check the back seat before you get in. As soon as you get in,
I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Following people home is something that happens. So be aware. Watch to see who's leaving the casino the same time as you are. If you're at all concerned, go someplace crowded. firehouse, police station, shopping mall, any place where there are going to be people at that hour. If you think someone's following you, do not drive directly home. Don't think that you're safe once you pull into your garage. They will run into the garage as the door is closing. Unfortunately, it happens.
I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you're reminding me of all these things that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reality. It's just something you have to be aware of. I'm not saying live your life in fear, but be observant, be aware.
One of the key issues of somebody following you is for you to make 2 or 3 right turns. And when you make 2 or 3 right turns and you see the same car behind you, the probability of you being followed is extremely high. So, everybody carries a cell phone. So you can 911 your cell phone, talk to the police officer, tell them where you are, tell them where you're going, ask them for the closest police department to your location. They'll give it to you. Then drive right up on that parking lot where the police station is and wait for an officer to come out. Don't get out of your car and run in there, because the distance between where you're parked and where you can get some safety may be quite a distance. So just stay in the car. An officer will come out, and probably by that time, the person that's following you will have driven away. But we had a case like that. Chuck and I both worked at, where these people had won an enormous amount of money at one of the casinos in Missouri, and they were driving home. And they made the fatal mistake of opening the garage door at the top of their street, okay, which was the most foolish thing you could ever do. So as the garage door is opening, these people just drive straight ahead, park across the street, and run into the garage. And they rob them inside their own garage and steal their car.
Wow.
So, these are things that you really need to be cautious about.
In an extreme situation, they may even decide to bump you on the road. Do not get out of the car to check damage. Dial 911. Wait patiently.
I want to say this is not hard.
Right.
Harder stuff exists. They're following from in front of you. It's still following. It's just, so this is what we're talking about, is straightforward, practical. What do you do under the most common circumstances? Not even getting into, roofies in the bar, which is still also kind of, simple. Watch your drinks, sitting at the slot machine, watch your drinks, and don't turn away from them, that sort of thing.
Oh, I want to tag one more thing, just because I always see it. It's important to have a phone when you're out in public. Don't be playing with your phone when you're out in public. You're walking through a parking lot, put the phone away and pay attention. It's the most dangerous place you're going to be today. Be aware that bad things happen.
I've known this for a while, shall I say. I was walking a lot when I was younger, and to work, that sort of thing. And this was before cell phones existed. And I was reading a paperback book, walking along the sidewalk. And it's the same rule. Oh,
similar thing with hearing aids. If you're wearing headphones, don't cover both ears when you're out in public. It's bad form. You need to be somewhat aware of the environment. 1 ear is okay. 2 ears, not okay.
Let me take care of something here. Wanted to, yeah, okay. So let's see. We've talked about the parking lot. We talked about carrying cash. Although one point that I think it was Chuck made, sometimes they offer, I want a car, accepted the cash, but they said, do you want this and free slot play? $40,000 in free slots play, which I was pretty sure would be expire in a month because that's happened before. Only it was like $250, but I figured it was the same principle, right? And it was going to be $80,000, and they're like, that would be a lot more money, wouldn't it? And I'm like, this is not a place where I've ever won with my free play, so pass. But they're asking, this is being safe from casino staff, where you just had a traumatic experience winning a car, and they're like buzzing you with questions. And I that was one I wasn't prepared for, but I said no, absolutely not. I know what this casino does with their free play, and that would just be such a waste. I did get the $40,000 half check, half cash, and I did get a security guard to walk me out.
Well, you know what the casinos always tell you, right? They're always trying to keep you there. The longer they keep you there, the more possibilities they have of winning that money back. But someone told me that they never build these beautiful casinos for winners.
Right.
They always build these beautiful casinos because of the losers. So if you keep that in mind, and when you have a huge win, the best policy that I've seen is to take the money and go home.
Well, there's a caveat on that, which is not what you said, but cruise ship slots. where it says if it's a 3-day cruise, the first day is when you win, and the other 2 days you got to hold on to your money somehow, some way. And I mean that because that's what they do. And 7-day cruises, the first 2 days you're gonna win, and now keep it. And then a 10-day, somebody asked me last week, I think it was a 10-day cruise. Well, the first 3 days instead of 2 and 1. And, and believe it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge keeping that because you're absolutely right. Leave, except it's a floating hotel.
Somewhat trapped.
Well, let's not go with trapped because but yeah, you're there, and so now you have to like not spend it. And I've had people have the excuse of they're going to they won, they have the money, and they're like, let's see if John's right. Let's save half of it and spend the other half. And they tell me about how they lost it. And I'm like, maybe next time you listen.
You could have had it all, right?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. But they wanted to check. And the way I think of it is they took one for the team, so thanks. And yeah. Let's see. I think I've gone through my questions. Anybody have a question for Chuck and Mike? Some people are driving while they're listening, and Henry, who is, I think I could share this, Henry, right? Yes, Henry, a guest on the live stream. He's a online slots player, and he's about to be banned. Because he's winning, which is a common thing. So, I mean, when you win, they don't like that. Yeah. I'm hoping to get him on the show because he wants to, I want him to share some of his stuff and maybe launch his own channel. But we'll see. I'm hoping to do more interviews. Right. Let's see. Anything else to share, guys?
I wanted to tag a little bit more about having a plan. We talked about having a plan for when and if you win. Let's also talk about a plan for when something bad happens. You don't want to spend your time obsessing about the bad things. Same time, you need to be aware that bad things do happen, and it makes sense to have a plan for how you're going to react. Now, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to follow your own plan. Sometimes it all goes out the window, but the bad guy chooses the time and place. So you don't get to plan for that, but you get to plan for how you're going to react. I've told the people that I go to the casinos with, somebody accosts us in the garage or the parking lot, Your job is to stay behind me. My job is to deal with the threat. Now, given how much of a jump he has on me, I've already decided how I'm going to react if he pulls a knife, if he pulls a gun, if there's more than one. Your job is to survive the encounter. If you survive the encounter, you've done everything right. Property, money, phones, whatever, the car, that can all be replaced.
Dignity, yelling for help.
Yeah. Again, your job is to survive the encounter. Having a plan increases your odds of surviving that encounter.
Yeah.
If someone pulls a knife on you and you decide that you're going to put up a struggle, decide ahead of time, know ahead of time, you're going to get cut. It's not the end of the world.
There's basic things here, like don't get in their car.
Agreed. Don't go to a second location.
Yeah.
Do whatever you have to do. If they are asking for the car keys, toss them. Give a chance to walk away. Give a chance to put some distance between you and them. If there's more than one and they've got you from in front and behind, again, your job is to survive the encounter. If you survive the encounter, you've done something right. But if there's more than one and they've displayed, a reckless regard, a disregard for human life by pointing a loaded weapon directly at you, if you decide to fight, no half measures. You have to commit.
My martial artist, my martial arts instructor used to say, "Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?" So this is somewhat related. I had a question from Robe. What about slot goons watching you play? Now, this may be, Chuck may know what this is. This is, Mike, this is when there's a limit on a must hit by value on a progressive slot. Some progressive machines have that. Sometimes it's in the game rules, often it is, but sometimes it is not. It is displayed right there on the screen. And if it gets close to the must hit by amount, which a lot of people aren't aware of, it is even like blatantly displayed right there. There's a bunch of people that like to, they call them slot goons, slot stalkers, who watch you play. And as it gets very close to that number, that you're unaware of, they try to go over and blow smoke in your face and do various things to get you away from that machine, so that they can play it and take that guaranteed win that's coming.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? I mean, if they're standing around watching, that's one thing, and then but when they go in and there's a crowd of them, so the first person who moves forward is trying to beat the rest of the people that are going to move forward in a minute. But the longer you wait and it's still below the number, the must hit by value, the more the person who's currently playing the innocent is bringing it up closer. But there's a bunch, these slot stalkers are not working together. One of them's going to go because they're afraid the others are going to go too. And so it's all sort of that kind of environment. I just see them trying to be annoying, but not actual threat. Any thoughts?
My strategy is to ignore the irritation and try to enjoy their impatience. And also, if you weren't aware that the slot's about to hit and they're in essence telling you it's about to hit, pay attention. They may know something you don't know. But
so you're saying know that watch for the machine being that kind of machine.
Right.
One, two. Sorry, I was looking at the notes. That's that kind of machine, but also to be aware that slot stalkers exist and that they're going to come up to you, and that would be, I don't like giving people what they want when they're bad people.
Right.
And
don't reward the bad behavior.
Yeah. But if you're like, oh, this is terrible, walk away in disgust, and they rolled you.
And what Chuck was saying about having somebody else with you really plays right into that hand, right? Because they're going to say, hey, we got a couple of guys here that think that they know what's going on, and one guy, is trying to irritate you, so you'll move away from the slot machine, right? I mean, most of the time, sometimes I just confront them. I just say, you know what? I'm going to be here for a while, so you can say whatever you want to say, but I'm not moving. So do what you want to do.
So
sometimes you can call security, right, Chuck?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can
Press the service button.
Yeah.
You can have security come over anytime you want and just say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to play this game with this guy or this girl or whoever it is harassing me, and they need to get away. And they'll escort them away from the machine. And they really will, because they want you to spend the money just like everybody else does, right?
Yeah, you're of the two of you, you're the one spending the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Let's see here. Chris says, my wife also reminds me to keep a routine when leaving a slot machine.
Routine is good.
So I don't forget my ticket. Too many people will cash out the machine in seconds. Yeah. And
similar routine when using your phone, your drink, whatever.
Yeah.
If you pull your phone out, put it back. If you put it on the machine to charge it, make note of that. You put it on the machine to charge it, and keep half an eye on it, or have your buddy keep an eye on it, because it may not be a security concern, but $1,000 phone, somebody might want to walk off with that. That's useful for parts.
I share. I haven't shared this before, but like if I go out for breakfast, I'm not being bugged by a fan, which happened Thursday morning. It was very nice. Jared, very, very nice meeting you. But when, I pay for my meal, I pull up my wallet and I hold it in my hand. And they're gone for a few minutes. And I kind of look down and go, why am I still holding my wallet? Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's something missing. And it's a visual clue for me. So maybe there's a visual clue for you that your card's missing, and or your phone, because the phone is valuable. Yeah.
Well, another thing you have to be concerned about is card readers, right? Because sometimes somebody will take your card if you're paying for something, and it takes them a while to bring the card back. You kind of wonder what's going on there, right? And now most of the casinos and most of the restaurants will bring the receipt machine right to the table, okay, or right to your machine that you're playing. So you hand it to them, and they hand it right back to you. But if you give that card to somebody and it takes a while to bring that card back, you can bet that when you get home, you're going to have a whole bunch of charges on that card that you didn't place on the card.
Interesting. I don't usually let go of anything but my license and my player's card. I don't give them my credit card, but then I don't drink, so I'm not ordering meals with credit cards. But that's a great point. That's a great point. Question from George.
Hi, George.
If you get a check hand pay, would you do a mobile bank app deposit before leaving casino to kill the slot machine? Other things people don't know also is that I used to work at a bank, and kill it right there. You can deposit it right then. Now, on the other hand, if the first $500 is available to then be withdrawn from your ATM, it kind of defeats the purpose of why you got the check in the first place.
Only caution I would have is you probably don't want to do that in plain sight of anyone, because you're telling them that you've got access to your bank account, which obviously they would love to have.
Okay.
Especially the routing number, right?
Yeah. If you can do it surreptitiously, by all means do. If not, wait until it's safe to do so.
Because the check is pretty safe. If you don't, well, yeah. Yeah. I'm just kind of like getting into this, and I'm like, so which way would I fall on either side of this safety thing? Well, more checks. I need more checks. um, uh, um, so I have a separate question from AJ, which is I won 25 jackpots last year at Niskola. It's in Texas. Made elite status, but went to no wins back to back when using card. Is this common? No, that's not common. I've never done anything other than use a card, and as I tell people, I win just fine. Now, if you go back to not having it and you go back to jackpots and then you go back to putting the card back in, then you have the evidence. If it was, it'd been a year, and then you went back and said, "I'm not going to use a card," that's a little bit different. But if you, the, you go in 5 days, and first day you don't use the card and get hand pays. Second day you do use the card and don't get hand pays. The third day you don't use the card and get hand pays. Then it's just like, what's going on here? And then you might call the gaming commission. Because there's rules, man. There's rules. But typically, no. There's actually, I went into this in depth at one point because they don't know whether they should give you a win or should not give you a win if they know who you are, because they won't know until they do the receipts for the casino. And even if it's all digital, it takes like 4 hours. So 4 hours after your current playing, they might know what to do. And that means, they don't know what to do at the time. But that doesn't mean that there's somebody back there in the back going, let's just, flip this switch and see what happens.
Yeah. The counterpoint to that, AJ, is I've never had a hand pay where I wasn't using my card.
So I wanted to mention Chuck is a moderator. He's been to almost every live stream, and now he's talking to you. I didn't realize you really wanted to do this, Chuck. we can have you on it.
I'm just opinionated, and I can't stay quiet.
Well, we've seen you typing. We've seen you typing for years. And there's reason to have you on for other reasons sometime. So I'm doing interviews now. Any other questions from the live streamers in the chat, or is there? AT says, any insight on HR machines or HHR machines? There's something called historic horse racing. There are games on that. I've been to Kentucky, which is all what they have, and it's just a huge income for that state, and it's really kind of creating an uproar because for various financial reasons having to do with the state and taxes of the casino, of the players. And those are historic horse racing machines. They look just like ordinary slot machines, but they're based on games. I've never won more than just a smidgen. It's my highly visible strategy where if it can be seen from a distance, that's the machine to play. And that'll improve your odds, but it kind of improves them up to breaking even, has been my experience, and not beyond that. And that's my experience with that in Kentucky. Yes, I've played them, and we could talk a little bit about how they operate. But the idea here is highly visible machines next to the bar. Usually, they're small places. These small pubs, even in Nevada, where they don't have HHR machines, I've talked to bartenders, I've talked to waitresses who are like, you can see this happening, or the bartenders and waitresses can say, this machine has been raised, the odds have been raised on the settings provided by the casino, by the slot machine manufacturer. And it's pretty obvious, but kind of like what Chuck was saying, if you don't know about it, the situation, you don't know to guard against it. You don't know you don't take advantage of it. Yeah, situational awareness. Let's see exactly. They have pinball and top
George,
dollar. Mhm.
George mentioned that in the chat. Spidey sense, he called it, which is funny. But we all have a sense of danger that, either a gift from the creator or from evolution. Doesn't matter what your viewpoint is, it's there. Pay attention to it.
I want to respond to AT, who says they have pinball, top dollar, video poker. How the heck does HHR work with video poker? It's not video poker. It looks like video poker. There's a difference. So it's the illusion of video poker, using the looking at historic horse races to determine winners. There's depending on the number of reels and the number of symbols per reel, it can be up to 52 horse races that it's drawing from, on the position of each of the reels and what it means to win. And so that's where probabilities are pulled from. And it only looks like pinball. It only looks like top dollar. It only looks like video poker.
Well, what you're saying to us, John, to me, doesn't sound like a great machine to be playing.
But and I like your fresh approach here. That is the thing to ask. Except they don't have a choice unless they drive 300 miles.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, well, I could stop on my way home.
Yeah, the
So
states
they
that
have a captive audience, is what you're really saying.
the states that have horse racing but don't have slots.
Yeah.
Right.
Sort of a loophole they can use to get slot-like machines in.
Yeah.
Where's that place in Wisconsin that's so isolated? There's no nearby casinos. Potawatomi, something like that, and it's just there's nothing nearby. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is outside of the gaming rules, just being just terrible. You cannot have a machine over 100% return to player because that's the requirement by the state. But you can have right up to that in Pennsylvania, or excuse me, Philadelphia, because there's a lot of competition going on. And if I don't like what I'm doing here, I'm going to the one across the street. But then you get Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is isolated and alone with Penn National. And it's like, we can judge how willing people would be to go that far away and lower the odds to just about where they need to be to make more money. And again, situational awareness. Where are you calling from? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? And choosing casinos is important. But sometimes, as we were discussing, sometimes you don't have a choice. There's Mississippi, Pennsylvania have the same gaming rules in terms of cannot be set to be over 100%, even though slot machine manufacturers offer that option to casinos. So maybe you switch to an annual vacation to Las Vegas, but then you're not gambling every weekend. And maybe that's better for you.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing for sure. If you leave the continental United States and you go to a casino, you're going to be, sadly, you're not going to win hardly anything. The odds, and let's say Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, you go there and you play, and they're all slots. I don't care if you're playing 21. I don't care what you're playing, but you're playing slots, and the odds of you winning are slim to none. I mean, I've seen people just drop a ton of money and never get a hit off a slot machine. Never. So, I mean, I don't know what the odds are, but they've got to be incredibly bad for the players.
I haven't gone international other than Australia and Canada. And was it Manila, Philippines?
Yeah.
I looked at the gaming regulations there, which are all fascinating. But going to Vietnam, I don't know. Do they have statistics? Do they post the averages?
They don't post anything.
Yeah.
They just, you're going to a casino that's really part of a hotel, and you're going up there and you're just throwing your money into these machines, and you're really just literally throwing your money away. Because I mean, I've been in and out of that part of the world a lot on protection details, and some of these people just want to go play, right? And they'll sit there and then they'll lose $5, $6, $7,000 in a machine and never get a hit, never get a hit. So, I mean, I don't think they post anything. I mean, I don't think they even have any rules to post anything in some of these foreign countries.
I would love to check to see if there are any rules, if there is any data, just to know. But there's 190 some countries out there. One of the things that's let's see, there's Vietnam. There was another one I was going to say.
Bangkok, Thailand.
Yeah, right. And this is all kind of, where are you in the United States? This podcast is going out worldwide. This is will become a podcast. It's a live stream at the moment, and it goes out worldwide. And people have questions. Send me your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. I have plans for this new revision of Professor Slott's, where last weekend I came back and brought everything back like a week before that, and working on doing various things. I was chatting with Chuck before this live stream started about some of the things, because I talk to Chuck a lot. It's there's stuff coming where I might be like national or international. I got things. I had one of the slots, other slots channels send me a nasty remark. I assume it was nasty. It started nasty, and I think it got worse, but I never read the whole thing. But they're upset. I mean, one of the things I want to talk about too with Mike and Chuck is, if you're a YouTuber and somebody shows up at breakfast, or you have other slots channels that are just trolls, and I have a business address, and leave it at that, and hope for the best. Block some of these other slots channels when they call me on my phone, and block them, and maintain situational awareness when I'm going to get an ice cream.
Once you start going international with this type of podcast, you may want to take a look at the Pacific Rim, because the casinos, first of all, they're enormous in size. If you go to Singapore, there's a casino that takes up 3 floors of a hotel. So I mean, these guys are serious about taking your money. Very serious about taking your money, and they do a great job doing it. And even when they put on these tournaments, very, very seldom do the people that are playing on a regular basis win. So I mean, these things are designed to take your money, and they're not designed to keep your money. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And to your point, that is the way that it is. So I would want to talk about something, and basically, if it's all bad news, why would I want to do it? I mean, other than situational awareness, I have a gentleman that has had a consultation, and we've been chatting, and he just got back from Asia, and he's like, I can run through these casinos for you. I can go with you to these casinos, but it is such a pay-in for me to like go and check it out, and then go home, think about it, and then go back. And at that point, will I even make enough to be, as a business decision to do that? I thank you for some real knowledge. You've been there for that, and that's good to know. The podcast goes out around the world. I was chatting with Chuck yesterday or something. I do that a lot, and he says, I said, if you swear, I lose India. Because that's how podcasting works. It's clean. Don't say it.
Try not to think about the pink elephant. not normally profane, but since you've warned me.
Okay, all right. This interview is about wrapped up, unless anybody has a question. And let's see.
I need to say hi to Penny.
And hi, Steve. Well, it's Chris. He changed his YouTube. Chris H. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to move on to the next part of the podcast. You've been awesome. I'll let you know if there's any feedback. Chuck, Mike, would you send your contact information? I'll put it in the description for this videos. Nice logo on your chest there. I'll be sure to include that. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll move on with the next part of the show. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Take care.
You too. Bye. Okay. Okay. Whew. That was exciting. I enjoyed that. Okay. Jerry Uma, yeah, good to see you. What do you think of all the sweepstakes games? Let's see here. Yes. What do you think of all the sweepstake casinos? Many states are banning them as of recently. Oh, that's been an ongoing thing. And the casinos you're talking about is a little pub that was bare wall to wall, and then it wasn't, and then it was gone again. Ohio, for instance, went through this about, 2 years, 10 years ago, and they just had to clean them all out. It is sweepstakes is basically raffles. Electronic. And so they're under raffle state laws. So your church can have a raffle, but the sweepstakes casino machines, can they go into churches? It becomes kind of a situation. And Chuck should be back, or is back in the chat as moderator. Say hello, Chuck. And so, yes, states are banning them. That's been an ongoing process. It may be that you're looking at this occurring for the first time in your state. Welcome to the party. So I want to cover my winning strategy. Number one, only win immediately. You're welcome, Jerry. And you may have heard about this. I'm updating it coming up. And so, yes, after over a dozen visits to a local pari-mutuel racetrack back when I was living in Ohio with slot machines in 3 months, I identified a precise winning pattern I had never seen before. Using this pattern, I won 6 taxable jackpots over the next 2 months. Did I make a profit? Yes, I did. The true power of this strategy is that nearly all its winnings constitute profit. I was playing high limit machines. So how did I discover this winning slot strategy? I had help. When I first visited that new casino, I conversed with slot attendants and floor managers about recent jackpot winners, something I'm interrogating them. Didn't make it seem like an interrogation, but I was interrogating them. They informed me about slot machine gamblers who had won numerous taxable jackpots by moving from machine to machine, one taxable jackpot after another. Yes, casino employees told me. All I had to do was listen and reflect on their words. This casino established its slot machines to operate this way for sound business reasons. Unfortunately, casinos adopting this standard practice are easily exploited by any savvy slots enthusiast who recognizes its evident pattern. And as we were just talking about, watch for stuff. Here's the pattern I observed. Every win happened within the first few bets on a slot machine. After that initial win, called a taste, I wouldn't win again for what felt like a long time, sometimes for hours. I witnessed this behavior repeatedly on every slot machine I played at that casino. That's the pattern. So the next step is to build a winning strategy from it. With this pattern, I decided to play slot machines for up to 5 wins. Now, why 5? I chose 5, and I'm still sticking with 5. We'll talk in just a moment about kind of what I've learned. If I won anything at all, I'd collect that taste, that first win, and immediately stop playing that slot machine. Why only 5 spins? Why not 3 or 10 spins? We'll discuss optimization for you and your casino shortly. Next, I assume this pattern applied to every machine. There's a long answer, which I'll explain in a future video, but for now, it's unnecessary. Let's focus on how to win rather than why you're winning. When creating this winning slot strategy, I also realized that this pattern doesn't require much money to be as successful. So I decided to try using it with a bankroll of $500 in that casino's high limit slot machine area. And when I first tried this strategy, I sat at a $5 or $10 denomination slot machine, put my entire bankroll, all $500 into it, and made maximum bets until I made 5 bets, stopping sooner if I won anything. Then I would quickly cash out my voucher, move to the next slot machine, and repeat the process. I did this repeatedly, moving down one row and back up another. At that time, at that casino, I would win a taxable jackpot of $1,200 or more before spending a quarter of my bankroll, which is $125 on an individual slot machine. When I first deliberately tried this strategy during the visit, I won 3 taxable jackpots on 3 different machines within 25 minutes, with each jackpot occurring only minutes apart. Now, Mike earlier in the interview said something about not giving them your card, and he was talking about credit cards, but I've given my driver's license and to them for this first one. And thank you, George, for saying smash that like button. Appreciate that. Yes, so I gave my ID, and the slot attendant walked off with it, and then I won the taxable hand pay. And a slot attendant came up and said, "Driver's license, please." And I said, "You have it. The other slot attendant has it." But they never seemed to quite key in on, why are you winning so many jackpots so fast? And I did not say, why didn't you notice? Because no. The slot operators at this new casino were highly efficient. However, each time I won a taxable jackpot, it took about 5 minutes for the slot operator to take my ID, complete the paperwork, clear the machine, and then go off to retrieve my hand pay for the jackpot I just won. While they were away, I cashed out on that slot machine and moved to the next one, where I won a jackpot within just a handful of plays. Once again, another slot operator arrived to fulfill the hand payout requirements, and I couldn't provide my jackpot, but that was, that's kind of what happened, and as I explained. So hey, remember to subscribe to my channel below. I appreciate that. A like would be great also, as George mentioned. So while utilizing this 5 spin strategy, I won 3 taxable jackpots within 25 minutes with the actual playing time of about 10 to 15 minutes. My total profit was $6,100, representing a 12 times return on my original $500 bankroll. With this strategy, we're taking advantage of the casino's desire to give players new to the machine a quick taste, so they don't get up and leave after not winning. Casinos want us to stay, spend that initial amount that you won, go on to empty your pockets into the machine. My strategy suggests doing the opposite. Move on immediately after you've gotten that taste, then collect your winnings from the machine later. But how many bets should you place on each machine? Why 5 bets? Why not 3 bets, 8 bets, or even 10 bets? 5 bets worked best for me. They were sufficient to give the machine a chance to provide me a taste, and I felt that more bets would risk my bankroll more than I wanted. Adjust your strategy as needed. Determine what works best at your casino, and comment below on how many bets are most effective. However, avoid making 100 or 2 more bets per machine, as that method is more relevant to bankroll cycling, which I cover in other videos. So when wanted to say that I've learned a little bit more about this. I would go. I got after I moved to Nevada, I got permission to record, and you may have seen some of my popular videos on that topic, where I would use 5-spin method on a bunch of different machines, and if I won anything, I'd move to the next machine. And I think I've done 50 at WinStar and Choctaw Durant, and so one machine after another, and that's what I noticed was when I was keeping track of all this, I would win on the first bet. So yes, 3 bets, 5 bets, 8 bets, but on the first win, you move away. And I've seen it at casinos where it's the first bet and then you move on, which is pretty mobile. And it's a little hard for some people with mobility issues to then get up and go, or in a crowded casino. So one of the things I'll talk about some other time in another video is take your money out of the machine, take your card out of the machine, wait 50 seconds, wait 30 seconds, put them both back in, and now you're a new player on the machine. And if you don't want to use your card, don't use your card. It doesn't recognize $100 bill from another. And then it thinks that you are a new player and the taste is back. And that works great at crowded casinos where if you gave up your machine, you wouldn't get another one anytime soon. So is there a question? Some casinos have allowed players to accept the hand pay via slot machine menu, but I think those high rollers have their tax info on file and special permission. Yes, I had, George says, I had, let's see, I want that one, yes. So I have a client who goes to one of the tribal casinos in California, and he spent $31 million playing slots. And it was at that point 10 months that year. And we're talking about taxes, which is the reason why he contacted me. Did he win more than $31,000? $31 million? No, he won $30 million. So the casino got $1 million from him. And so the casino was like, we won't kick you out. Thanks for the million in 10 months. Keep going. Here, have dinner with the general manager. You know, every Tuesday sound good? And that's, and so when he loaded up the machine, he could have spent his entire time putting $100 bills in the machine and they would have, you know, filled the machine and they would have to come service the machine. No, they loaded the machine with $100,000 and then off we went. Yeah. He did say he saw all my techniques, but he was really there to have entertainment. Things had happened in his life, and he was looking for to be treated like a rock star, and so he was. So during this stream, I cover one U.S. state gaming industry each Saturday. Yeah, no, they treated him like a rock star, Jerry. He was just like, wow, this is awesome. And so let's share the screen and let's see, window there. Right. So before I start talking about Alaska, I want to tell you a couple of things. One is my webpage is professorslots.com. My courses are at courses.professorslots.com. I have started 2 communities. One is the silver tier, where you get all this stuff that you can read about there. But you can also go to gold tier, which gives you access to silver tier, but you also get a weekly weekly Zoom meeting with me where we're all kind of talking to each other, like me and Mike and Chuck were talking. So if you want to, this is a monthly fee, but the first month is a free trial. So feel free to look into that. There's also Slots Labs. Slots Labs is my advanced course. With it, you get my foundational course. So that it starts actually in 9 days and 45 minutes. Monday, May 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sign up for that if you're at all interested. Many people have, but we still have some room left. I hope to see you there. So Alaska slot machine casino gambling, and Steve. Steve is a wonderful fan. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, and there. Okay. Steve, I myself have had numerous first spin bonuses, but not all of them paid very well, kind of like a teaser. So most of the time I move on. Yeah, there's another reason to move on. Situational awareness, know what's going on. So Alaska slot machine casino gambling is exists as Class 2 electronic gaming machines at community bingo halls. Many locations also offer pull tabs. Cruise ships provide onboard casinos when cruising international waters. I should mention Class 2 electronic gaming machines are something that tribes can offer. And tribes, Pueblos, various nationally recognized tribes, and American Indian tribes, Native American tribes. And those are the games that only they can offer, not commercial casinos. And so I go over every state. These are available out there for you. And it's my online resource for state by state understanding what's going on in your state. The minimum legal age gambling in Alaska depends on whether it's pull tabs, it's 21. There's nothing available for poker rooms. Bingo's 19. Lottery, it's not available. And parimutuel wagering, none available. There's also, in 1960, the state legislature established a law allowing charitable fundraising events to offer games of skill. With this, and Class 2 gaming is described as games of skill. With this statute in place, the Federal Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, IGRA, of 1988, allows tribes to provide Class 2 electronic games and other games of skill, such as pull tabs. This is with the state approval and a contract. Another word for contract is compact. So private ownership of a slot machine in Alaska is legal if not offered as a gaming device used for real money gambling. And this is varies from state to state, and some changed recently, as did Alabama, as I talked about last week. So they changed their rules in 2021-22. So as established by federal law, the National Indian Gaming Commission regulates Alaska's Class 2 bingo style gaming facilities through the IGRA. This community bingo hall offers, bring this down to here. Yes, these community bingo halls, they offer a handful of those and several international cruise ships that make seasonal visits to the coastal cities. Alaska's largest community bingo hall is, I don't know how to pronounce that. Let me see if I can drop it into the, and you can practice for me. I'll drop that into the chat. But apparently it translates to Southeast Winds Casino, and that features bingo-style electronic games and pull tabs. There are no land-based commercial casinos in Alaska, but international cruise ships visit Alaska's coastal cities. These ships have onboard casinos open for passengers while cruising in international waters. So there's only tribal casinos, no commercial casinos. Community halls in Alaska, let's see, there's a nice little map here. These are the ones that still exist. And in the website, in my website article, professorslots.com/AK, if you want to know your states, just use the 2-letter designation, professorslots.com/ and then a 2-letter postal designation for your state, and it'll pop right up. So these are the community halls where bingo is available, or pull tabs. And there's also in Canada, fairly nearby, there's Crystal Cruises in Anchorage and Royal Caribbean International in Juneau, but there's Prince Rupert Casino in British Columbia, which is 50 miles from Ketchikan. It has 100 slot machines and 12 table games. I also have a Facebook page for Alaska slot machine gambling, for you post your wins and theoretical payout and return statistics. There's none available, which is typical for Class 2 gaming. And there also are no theoretical payout limits. And if there are statistics, which there probably are, it's not shared with the public. So in summary, Alaska slot machine casino gambling exists as skill-based Class 2 electronic gaming machines at community bingo halls, with some locations offering pull tabs. Cruise ships provide onboard casinos with games of chance when cruising internationally, not while docked. Okay, that's it. Any last questions? Yeah. So George says, yes, the Chattabawa Two Kings Casino in North Carolina is adding Class 2 machines with poker and keno. Yes, I remember when that casino opened. Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you. What a remarkable live stream. I hope you enjoyed our experts that came to visit. I'll see you next Saturday at noon Eastern, or in the Pacific time zone, 9 a.m. Eastern. I highly recommend that you watch this video on my advanced course Slots Labs, an instructor-led 6-week course on how to win at slot machine gambling. One question people have had is, can beginners take it? Yes, because it comes with my foundational course, 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win. Happy spinning. Bye.